Okay, good morning, students. We are going to do a chapter question of trust. Why the chapter has been named a question of trust. It is said that you must set a thief to catch a thief. Yes, it says now, if you want to catch a thief, you have to set a thief because all the thieves they know the secret of another thief. But it is also said that there is honor among thieves. Some thieves, if you see, we have seen in the olden times, the dacoits, they were having their own principles. Some dacoits were honest in committing the crimes. So you will come to know why this sentence has been or statement has been spoken here. Which saying does this story illustrate? Show. Everyone thought that Horace Danby was a good, honest citizen. He was 50 years old and unmarried, and he lived with a housekeeper, that is a servant, who worried over his health. So, Horace Denby, in a society, he was known as a good and honest person. He was 50 years old and he was unmarried. He was looked after by his housekeeper, and every time his housekeeper was worried about the health of Horace Denby. In fact, he was usually very well and happy except for an attacks of hay fever in summer. Throughout the year, Horace Denby remains hale and hearty, that is healthy, except in the summertime. During summertime, he suffered from a hay fever. You will come to know what is hay fever. He made locks and was successful enough at his business to have two helpers. Yes, he was in a business of making a locks. Locks means tala. Yes, Horace Denby was good and respectable, but not completely honest. The people who knew him, they always says he was honest. But the writer is saying that though he was honest, but he was not completely honest. 15 years ago, Horace had served his first and only sentence punishment in the prison library. 15 years ago, Horace was in jail and he has spent his time in a prison library. Means when he was in jail, maximum time he used to spend in a library. He loved rare, expensive books. So he robbed a safe every year. Safe means tijori. So every year he used to broke a safe he used to broke a safe and he used to steal the money. Each year he planned carefully just as what he would do. Stole enough to last for 12 months and secretly bought the books he loved through an agent. So Horace Denby, it was though he was in a business of a lock making, he was getting a good money also. He was having two helper who used to help him in his business, but he was also having an habit of breaking the safe. He used to steal that much of amount of money that could help him to survive throughout the year. And also he loves buying expensive books. Now, walking in the bright July sunshine, he felt sure that this year's robbery was going to be as successful as all the others. For 2 weeks, he had been studying the house at Shotover Grange, looking all at his room, electric wiring, its path, and its garden. So Horace Denby, whichever house he has to broke into, he used to first survey, study about that house. So this time he has picked a house which was at Shotover Grange. For 2 weeks, he used to go there to see the in and out of the house. This afternoon, the two servants who remained in the Grange while the family was in London had gone to movies. Horace saw them go and he felt happy in spite of little tickle of hay fever in his nose. It was summertime and he suffered from only one problem, that was hay fever. He came out from behind the garden wall, his tools carefully packed in a bag on his back. There were about 15,000 pounds worth of jewels in Grange's safe. He had already come to know that in the locker of the Grange, where he is going to steal today, there is 15,000 pounds of jewelry. If he sold them one by one, he expected to get at least 5,000, enough to make him happy for another year. There were three very interesting books coming up for sale in the autumn. Now he would get the money he wanted to buy them. So he calculated in his mind that there are 15,000 pounds of jewel, and if he is successful in breaking and stealing those jewelry, for 2 years he will not have to do the stealing, not to break the safe of anyone's house. And then he was thinking about the three expensive book which was about to come in the autumn. He had seen the housekeeper hang the key to kitchen door on a hook outside. He put a pair of gloves, took the key, and opened the door. He was always careful not to leave any fingerprints. A small dog was lying in the kitchen. It stirred, moved, made a noise, and moved a tail in a friendly way. All right, Sherry, Horace said as he passed. All you had to do to keep dog was to call them by their right name and show them love. So the owner of the house was not there. He had gone to London along with his family. The servant, there were two servants, they had gone to watch the movie. So Horace thought that this is the best time to steal. When he entered from the kitchen door, he saw the dog. The dog tried to move, but Horace had called it the dog by its name, Sherry. And Horace says that if a dog is called by its name, the dog is not going to bark at the person. The safe was in the drawing room behind a rather poor painting. Horace wondered for a moment whether he should collect pictures instead of books, but they took up them too much room. In a small house, books were better. First, he thought of a painting. Then he thought that for painting, he will need a big room. And for books, a small room could do. So he thought of keeping the books. There was a great bowl of flowers on the table, and Horace felt his nose tickle. It gave a little sneeze and then put down his bag. He had carefully arranged his stool. He had 4 hours before the servant returned. The safe was not going to be hard to open. After all, he had lived with locks and safe all his life. Yes, throughout his life, he was in a business of lock making, and he has broken the safe. So it will be not very difficult for him this time also to break the safe. The burglar alarm was poorly built. Burglar alarm means what? If somebody enters, like we have got a fire alarm, if there is a fire or a smoke, the alarms will ring. Same way, there are burglars alarm. If any stranger entered the house or any other premises, that alarm will alert the people. He went into the hall to cut its wire. He came back and sneezed loudly as the smell of flour came to him again. So, hay fever is a type of allergy where a person continuously sneeze. Here, Horace was sneezing independently, loudly, knowing very well that nobody was there in that house. And he also knew that two servants who were there in the house where he at present is stealing, they will come after 4 hours because they had gone to watch the movie. So he was comfortably in a position of sneezing and doing his work. How foolish people are when they own valuable things. Horace thought. A magazine article had described this house, giving a plan of all the rooms and a picture of this room. The writer had even mentioned that the painting hid a safe. So what happened? How he has come to know about this house? Because in the magazine, every in and out of this house was mentioned, even about the safe and where the safe was. The safe was behind the picture. But Horace found that the flowers were hindering him in his work. Why? Because he was having an allergy with the flowers. So the moment he was going near the flower, it was making him to sneeze. He buried his face in his handkerchief. Then he heard a voice say from door, "What is it? A cold or hay fever?" So he was comfortably doing his work, thinking that nobody was there in the house. The house was empty. But suddenly he heard a voice. Was it is a cold or a hay? Before he could think, Horace said hay fever. And again he was sneezing. The voice went on. You can cure it with special treatment, if you find out just what plants give you the disease. So the voice again said, you could cure yourself if you come to know that which kind of a plant or a flower is giving you an allergic. I think you'd better see a doctor. If you're serious about your work, I heard you from the top of the house just now. So Horace was freely doing his work. He was suffering from a fever, which is called hay fever. That is a kind of allergy. But Horace, when he was breaking the safe, he was sneezing without any fear as he thought that nobody was there in the house. The house was empty. But suddenly he heard a voice. Somebody was suggesting him to go to the doctor. Okay, I think till here it is clear. Tomorrow we will be taking the next part.